Welcome back to the channel, y'all. Today we're making a monk build for Final Fantasy Tactics, and this is going to be applicable to Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles when that comes out later this month. And man, that release date it's creeping up fast. But anyways, if you guys want to see more Final Fantasy Tactics content, consider joining the channel and hitting that like button. YouTube lately has been really favoring engagement with the algorithm, so a like really does go a long way. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with the video. Like, honestly guys, I'm just really excited to talk about Final Fantasy Tactics, and these guys, they don't really say a whole lot. So first up, we should start off, how do you unlock the monk? Well, the monk here, it only requires you to have knight level 2. How do you unlock knight? Well, you just need squire level 2. So very simply, you start off with squire, you get this job level 2, and then you unlock the knight, you get this job level 2, and then that'll give you monk. Next up, let's talk about the equipment for the monk, as well as their stat growth. So equipment wise, monks only get something in their armor slot and then their accessory slot. But in the case of a female monk, they actually do have some helmet options. So that might be something to consider. And for their stat growth, they favor physical attack as well as high HP gains. But now let's take a look at the monk's abilities. And honestly, all the monk abilities are actually really good, but I'll just pick out my favorite. I really love Wave Fist. This is going to be a nice range attack. In the War of the Lion translation, this should be Aura Blast, but I really like this ability because it gives you a range option to do damage. And then another favorite is Earth Slash. This is going to do a line attack, so another way to do damage at range. But Monk also has a bunch of support and utility skills as well, like Stigma Magic here. This is essentially a cleanse of all these conditions listed there. But Chakra here, this is a self-heal, as well as affecting anybody next to you. And then, oh yeah, they also get a revive. Now, the only thing about this revive is they have to be on the same level of terrain as you. But hopefully you can see that Monk here, as far as their abilities for their martial arts, they're just absolutely stacked. And did I mention all this scales off of your physical attack, even your chakra, which heals you, and it also gives you MP. Both of these, again, they're going to scale off your physical attack. So the higher your physical attack is, the more HP you're going to get, and the more MP you're going to get. And monks already want really high physical attack because they punch things. They punch things really, really hard. But alright, let's move on to the reaction abilities, and all these are also just really good. HP Restore here, this will be critical HP Restore or something like that for the updated translation, but every time your character goes into a critical state, they will get all of their HP back. This is an excellent reaction ability in the Wygriff fight. And just a quick note, all of your reaction abilities are tied to your bravery. So the higher bravery you have, the better chance your character will have of proccing their reaction. Bravery is an easy stat to manipulate, to permanently bump up, and you mainly do that through a mediator or Ramza, the main character's squire job line. But if you want more of a offensive or damage dealing reaction, you also have counter. It's pretty basic. When an enemy hits you in close range, you will swing back at them with your melee weapon, or in this case, your fist. But the better version of counter is Hemedo here, which is going to be first strike. So instead of hitting the enemy after they already attack you, you will attack them first, and then if they're still alive, they'll go through with their regular attack option. In my opinion, if you know you're going to go with first strike, don't even bother getting counter. Okay, and then real quick, let's go over their support ability with just martial arts. So if you take this onto another job, like say a knight, they'll be able to use their fist really effectively and they'll do a lot of damage. So that can be good. That's nice. Really doesn't do anything for if you're going to stick with the monk class though. And then for our movement ability, we have move HP up. So every time our character moves, depending on their distance, they will gain health back. This is a decent movement ability, but when it comes to building out a monk that's going to last the entire game, I'm going to be looking to change out my movement ability and also my support ability here. So let's take a look at a very basic setup for monk here. You can see that our secondary job, I went with basic skills, and this is your squire line. And the reason I went for this is because of accumulate. And accumulate will just add a +1 to our physical attack. And like we discussed in our ability section, our entire job is based off of physical attack. So that one ability from squire goes a long way with monk here. And then for your reaction ability, I'm going with Auto Potion. I said I would always bring this up because this is just a great reaction for survivability. But for monk in particular, taking first strike is also really good, and so is critical heal. Because although monks have a great stat growth when it comes to health, they're missing out on a helmet that's going to boost up their HP. And they don't have access to heavy armor like a knight or samurai. And I don't want to waste our support skill on taking something like equipped heavy armor. But if you take critical heal, monks are going to be a tough son of a gun to kill, that's for sure. And then for our support skill, we're going with 2 swords. And you get this from Ninja. So we're just going to punch twice. And this actually synergizes really well with First Strike, because when an enemy tries to hit us in melee range, we're gonna punch them twice and probably kill them before they get their action off. And lastly, for our movement, teleport is just the best movement ability in the game, but there's also another setup I want to talk about. Now this is the other setup that I want to bring up, and that's going to be Mana Shield. In this case it's MP switch, and then Mana Foot, which is in this case is move MP up. Now this is going to make your monk essentially invincible, because with this combination, you're always going to have MP, and so your Mana Shield is always going to proc when somebody does damage to you. And even if you have 1 MP on your character and the enemy does 999 damage to you, that 1 MP will tank all of that damage. The only way your character's health actually gets depleted is if you have 0 MP before you are hit. It's an insanely strong combination and definitely worth getting for the end game, which thankfully it's not that hard to get. MP switch you get at Time Mage, which you should already be going to that job anyways for teleport, and then Mana Foot you just get from Oracle. So as far as your job leveling path should look, obviously start off as Squire, get that to level 2, then move to Knight to get that level 2. That'll unlock Monk for us, but we're going to want to get to Ninja for that dual wield ability. And to get to Ninja we need to be level 3 Archer, and then move to level 4 on Thief, and then finish off at level 2 Geomancer. But that's not all, because we also want to get into Time Mage as well. And thankfully, that only takes level 2 Wizard, which we will already have unlocked because Wizard is only level 2 Chemist. And then from there, the last job that we need to pick up is Oracle for Mana Foot. And that just takes level 2 into White Mage, or in this case, Priest. And I know it sounds like a lot of job leveling, but if you just have this mapped out in your head prior to building out your monk, you should easily have this up and running somewhere in the middle of chapter 2, definitely before chapter 3. So that's the build. That's how I like to build out my monk for Final Fantasy Tactics. Obviously, it's not the only way to build out that job, so if you have another fun way you like to play monk, let me know in the comments below. Now, I'm trying to find a rhythm with these build videos. I don't know how much I need to talk about, say, how to really elevate your JP gains by utilizing the JP spillover system. I don't know how familiar people are with that, but just really quickly, say you're in a battle encounter and you have an archer and a black mage. When your archer does an action that gives them some job points, your black mage who is in the fight will actually get a little bit of job points towards archer without having to do anything. So it's like if you're in a party traveling with somebody and they use a bow and you use, say, a stick or staff, whatever, and every time they use a bow, you're kind of picking up on some of the techniques that they're doing, and vice versa, they're learning how to use a stick. So that's a fun way I like to think about it. But to really maximize that, you want everybody on the same job. Say early in the game, you make everybody a squire, you bring them into a fight, and they'll just be spilling JP over to every other character in that encounter. And that'll make leveling the squire job super quick. And again, you can do that for every single job. So that's why I say that getting these builds up should be pretty easy, again, in that chapter 2 before chapter 3 range. And that's just one technique with the JP spillover that I really like to utilize, especially early on in like chapter 1, and just making sure I have almost every job unlocked by then. But anyways, that's the video, that's the build, that's enough jibber jabber from me. If you made it this far, thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Peace, and take care.